Can we wreck it? Yes, we can.
Blast Corps was an early N64 release that I fondly remember. My friends and I would rent it on several occasions. It is one of those games that has a time limit, and there's various challenges you have to complete in the level. As you complete them, you earn medals, and you unlock new vehicles and areas to explore. As a kid, I never actually finished the game, and I think that's partially because there's just so much to explore. I mean, besides the difficulty. Now, even after you finish a level, you can go back and look for things that you may have missed accomplishing the primary objective. Now, it is hard to talk about Blast Corps without mentioning Rare. I mean, come on, who hasn't seen that Rare logo and thought immediately, like, this is going to be a AAA gaming experience? Maybe my next series should be about Rare games. Well, until then, let's go ahead and check out some of the gameplay. The Nintendo 64. The most influential console of my youth. Rare, the company that developed some of the most popular games of my time on the N64. At its core, Blast Corps is a demolition game in which you use various vehicles to destroy buildings in order to escort a nuke on a truck before it collides with those buildings and explodes. Why? Because they say so. It's probably in the instruction booklet. Do you remember those? What I want to do is take you through a full level, so let's start with the first one. You start by flying in on the super sweet double helicopter, and what are those things called anyway? Dual props? I'm going to go with double copter. This intro shows you various points in the level and provides a quick overview of what you're going to see, and there's your vehicle. Since this is the first level, they start you with probably the easiest vehicle in the game, the bulldozer. How this one works is you drive straight into buildings and they fall down. You have your basic driving controls, gas, reverse, and brake. Each vehicle has its own unique controls. And when I go over these little beacons, they light up and guide me through the level. They are also a collectible, so if you miss a few, you need to go back and get them. The arrows popping up are directing me to the buildings that stand in the way of the nuke. I'm trying to destroy all of them, and that's sort of the point of the game. It's not necessary to do to defeat the level. By destroying all the buildings, I do gain more points, which increases my rank, gives me money, and other unlockables that I will need in order to access other levels. As you can see, it's pretty simple. One thing you can do is get out of your vehicle and run around. This is helpful later in the game when you have to switch vehicles in order to progress to the next level. I'll show you more of that later. I kind of like how the green gas just explodes out of these buildings once in a while. It's really random, but it looks cool. At this point, I've basically cleared the way for the nuke, so I can go and explore, or I can go into that truck right there and move on to the next level. I'm just going to go ahead and explore a little bit more. Here I am experimenting with different camera views. You have to realize that in these early 3D games, they were creating some of the first controls to change the camera view. And, oh, there's one of those invisible walls. Early 3D games relied on these things to keep you on track. I'm exploring in the middle of nowhere right now, and there's really no point to it, but I mean, in some areas you definitely want to explore, because there could be some hidden buildings and beacons and things you want to look at, which could also unlock other levels and vehicles. I really do like this missile view. I wonder if I could create my own mode where I have to stay in this view. I did things like that in Grand Theft Auto, where I would only play in the cinematic view. It was hilarious. That's basically the first level. And here are my stats, including how many buildings were destroyed, how many people I saved, the money I earned, the beacons, and it looks like I earned a gold medal. Let's go ahead and check out one of the other levels. This is J-Bomb. It doesn't get much cooler than a robot with a jetpack. His ability is, of course, to fly into the air. When you push the action button, it dives down and is able to destroy giant skyscrapers. Basically, all your dreams come true. Once again, this is a practice level, which is showing how these characters work, because later levels become much more complex and difficult, and it will take more advanced maneuvering to complete them. J-Bomb is probably my favorite machine in the game, because it combines the explosive demolition that makes Blast Corps what it is, with flying like a superhero. Anyone familiar with this game knew it would come down to this. Backlash. I made those last two attacks look good, but this guy is hard to use. Just look at this. Not very impressive. This machine works similarly to the carts in Mario Kart 64. You push the R button, and this initiates a drift. The catch is, you can only destroy buildings with the rear part of your vehicle. This can be extremely frustrating, especially later in the game when nailing every slide can be the difference between success and failure. I think with some practice I could learn how to do it again, but even this practice level gave me some difficulty my first time. Sideswipe is one of the easier vehicles to use. It has a quick drive and turning speed, and by pushing the action button, battering rams pop out the sides and demolish nearby buildings. This ability does have limited uses, so you have to pick up these little boxes to regenerate energy to keep the battering rams moving. Even though it's a simple vehicle, destroying stuff is still awesome, and I'd say it's pretty fun with just about any of these creations. Skyfall is a quick dune buggy with a fire-powered speed boost. By pushing the action button, you activate a speed boost and can actually use ramps to blast off to take out buildings. A weakness to this is that sometimes you can go over them, and that actually makes it a little difficult to destroy buildings this way.
Nice.
Ballista is the only character with projectiles. Instead of driving into buildings, you can shoot rockets that blow them up. These take up ammo, which must be replenished by picking up missile boxes. There's an additional ability that I didn't actually use, which sets off a barrage of missiles. Some other things you can do is slam on the accelerator to pop up the front wheel. This allows you to shoot missiles a further distance. This is still a pretty early level, but it begins to introduce some of the more complex puzzles of the game. Here, I'm controlling a train. I have to get out of the train with my character and actually figure out where I'm supposed to go before the nuke runs into a building and blows up. By crossing over this bridge, I get access to the ram dozer in order to knock down this building, and then I had to get out and go into the crane. This was difficult because there's a lot of torque and I just bounce around a lot. By driving the crane itself, I was able to move the ram dozer to another part of the level so I could reach the bomb that was on the train and blow up a nearby building. It is these kind of levels that the game is preparing you for, and ones that ultimately give this game more replay value beyond just smashing some buildings up. After completing that mission, I was given a commendation. These don't actually give you anything in the game, but they essentially check your progress. As you earn more medals, your rank will go up, which I suppose is more interesting than saying you have completed 11% of the game. The last vehicle I unlocked was Thunderfist. This one is a little hard to use because you actually have to be some distance away from the building before activating the ability and destroying it. The more you destroy in a row, the stronger it gets. So you can actually build up this combo of attack, roll, and you can destroy just about anything. There's another character that works similar to this, but I actually didn't get far enough to unlock that one. The story behind Thunderfist is that it's missing one arm because it is a failed experiment. I watched an interview with the creators that explained that they had to remove one of the arms to get under the polygon limit that exists for their vehicle models in the game engine. I want to return to the main world screen for a second, just to show you what it looks like as you unlock more levels. There are now various points around the world that are unlocked, and the ones I have already beaten change to the color of the medal I earned. As I earn more medals, more areas will become available to play. Before I end this gameplay portion of the video, I want to show you another level type I call Race. On these levels, you can choose which vehicle you want to use, and this unlocks a couple of cars that are purely based on speed and have no demolition capability whatsoever. This mode is simply a time trial mode. There's a small track, and you have to complete a certain number of laps in a certain amount of time. It also switches to this new camera view, which keeps its distance but also gives you a good view of the action. If you check on the bottom right hand corner, there is a remote control for an RC car. This is like an RC car, I guess. Does anyone still have those? I appreciate that they decided to branch out and have different kinds of gameplay that wasn't just demolition. I have also always been a fan of racing games, so having a different game type was a great way to take a break from blowing stuff up. So does Blast Corps build upon the nostalgia of my childhood? Or does it deserve to be crushed beneath a giant robot? Well, I actually really enjoyed picking up the game again. And even though Backlash is still pretty annoying, I think I could learn to master all these various vehicles again. Because of the simple gameplay, it almost kind of feels like a cell phone game. But the content as a whole is just so much higher, such a higher standard than what you'll see on, the mobile platforms. I definitely recommend checking this game out, getting through the tutorial levels, and getting to the parts that really show what this game has to offer. If you can't get a hold of the original cartridge, it is available on Rare Replay for the Xbox One. I've read mixed reviews about it, but the older Rare games, especially the ones on the N64, are the most praised titles. It also has the original N64 version of Conker's Bad Fur Day. Another possible future video? This is the final session of Being 12 for 12, a three-part series in which I look back at the nostalgic games of my past, focusing on games that I haven't played in years. I will be taking a break from scripted videos for at least a week, but I do have some big plans for a new project, and hopefully I'll be able to show you a sneak peek of that in the coming weeks. Until then, keep an eye open for any future live streams, and stay nostalgic, my friends.
You ran away or something?
Yeah.